Episode 25. What? All right, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to Cave Chronicles, where we discuss in depth my experience through every episode of Young Justice as we watch it. We just finished episode 25. We are about to begin episode 26. But before we do that, we needed to do an episode of Cave Chronicles. We needed to talk about this because this completely changed everything I thought I knew about the show, about the characters, and about my own detective abilities. I thought I was good at figuring out plots. I thought I was good at discovering what was about to happen before it happened. And when it comes to watching this show, I have consistently been wrong on just about every turn. I am not whelmed. I am not whelmed at all. In episode 25, as many of you probably already know, this was a brain melter. This may have potentially become the biggest brain melt I think I've had all season, outside of episode 14, outside of the events of episode 16, which also was a brain melter. This is up there. This is up there in one of the episodes that I've had to stop for a second and say. Now, for those of you that have already seen episode 25, you already know that the course of this entire season, one of the biggest questions that has been looming over the characters, over the audience, over my head has been, who is the mole? Who is it? And many situations have led us to believe that there were many other people that could have been the mole, right? There was times where I thought that Megan was going to be the mole, and that would have made a lot of sense, right? Because she was being blackmailed about her true form via Queen Bee, and fear of not wanting that secret to get out. I very much believe for many episodes that it was going to result in Megan potentially being a possible mole for this whole question that's been looming because she didn't want her true form to get out. That was revealed in this episode, and she came out and just told everybody, which was surprising. Come to find out, Superboy, who she was the most fearful of learning, and I think I was most fearful of her learning, which is why I felt like she would betray the team to protect her secret, to protect her relationship with Superboy. We find out that Superboy already knew. Then we get to Artemis. We thought Artemis, for me personally, I really thought Artemis was the mole. For the longest time, I thought it was the mole. I knew it wasn't Robin. I knew it wasn't Kid Flash. Like there was never even a moment where I felt like they would have made any sense in terms of being the mole, but Artemis made a lot of sense. She has ties to a criminal-like family. Her mother was the Huntress, who's retired, right? But her sister, who we've encountered multiple times in the season, is Cheshire Cat. We knew that there were, many times where we felt like she would be trying to protect her sister, and that would have made sense why she would betray the team. She's pulled in two different directions. It made sense, right? Then we get to her dad, who we just find out just the episode or two ago is Sportsmaster. Another reason why Artemis was the mole, and they have been playing me like a fiddle. This whole season, they have been pushing it into a direction where Artemis was the mole, almost to a point where they got it just to the point where if they had given us any more reason to believe it's Artemis, I would have started to believe that it couldn't be Artemis because it's just too obvious. And maybe I should have felt that before, but I didn't. I kept playing. I kept biting the bait. I kept being deceived, and I kept thinking, yeah, everything's proving it's pointing in the direction of Artemis. She's got to be the mole. But I understood her reasonings for it. I understood why she would be doing it. And then we had Superboy. Felt like Superboy could also be the mole. He's taking patches from Lex Luthor, who's his, kind of human side biological father. It made sense why Superboy could potentially be betraying the team. But never, and I mean never, not for 1 second, did I think that it would be Red Arrow. And now that we find out that it is Red Arrow, it makes all the sense in the world. Everything that has led up to this season, every ounce of intel makes sense that Red Arrow is actually the mole. But what we also see at the end of this episode is he wasn't even necessarily aware that he was the mole. So, I don't even know, can we say that Red Arrow was the mole? Because he was the one who actually was. It seemed like he was being manipulated, brainwashed, maybe the same thing that Lex Luthor was doing to Superboy with Red Sun, having this like programmed thing in his brain. It could also be the same thing that they were doing to Red Arrow, and Red Arrow didn't even know that he was feeding information to the team. And I have so many questions with that. When exactly did Red Arrow get captured for this whole situation to happen where he's been brainwashed? Like, how long has he been feeding the enemy intel? How much intel has he been feeding them? What intel has he been feeding them? It's so many questions, guys. I have so many questions. I don't even know what to say about this. But in terms of the broader spectrum of this episode, even before that reveal, this was already one of my favorite episodes of the season. The action was epic. I mean, just all the fights that were happening, the backstory where everybody kind of revealed their secrets. Everybody came clean about their dirt. From Superboy having been taking, patches from his biological father, Lex Luthor, to Megan working with Queen Bee because she was being blackmailed about her true form, to Artemis having a relation ties to her family of criminals. I was not expecting, and that led me to believe that maybe there really wasn't a mole. Maybe they were all kind of in a way a mole, but not in a way that they really wanted to be. I don't know. It felt like that chapter had closed, and we were finally able to move forward with everybody revealing who they were. But man, holy moly, guys, the end of that scene where we find out who the mole actually is, and that this whole thing, which I believe were the tentacles, right? They took this tentacle from one of the previous episodes, and they've been kind of messing around with it, and now we find out that it was all a part of some mind control thing. I have no idea. Maybe they're trying to take control of the members of the league. Dude, I am so confused. And with one episode left, I still have so many questions that I hope that we even get a fraction of the answers. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, guys. I don't want this breakdown to be too long. Episode 25 was literally the one of the main reasons why I began watching this show in the first place. This show presents you with questions, and you think you have the answers, and it flips it on its head. It gives you the bait and switch. It makes you second guess everything that you thought you knew, which not only keeps you engaged in the story and the world and the characters, but also just keeps it exciting and keeps it fresh. It's one of my favorite aspects of this show, where every episode I watch, I don't exactly know where they're going with it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm locked into every moment, every frame, hoping that maybe something will give me a hint. And when it finally does, they finally reveal it, I realize that I've missed everything all along. I don't know. It's a very humbling experience to watch a show that does that to you consistently. Yeah, I love it. With so many shows out there now that I feel like give away the plot too easily. They don't make you think. They don't make you wonder or worry about your characters. This show, man, it just consistently does it right with the writing and the storytelling and the lore and the plot twist. The plot twist, guys, they're everywhere. Anyway, this was an incredible episode, and we are about to jump into episode 26. If you are watching this recap, or you're watching this episode of Cave Chronicles over on YouTube, you may not know we have every episode available right now for season 1 over on my Patreon. If you're seeing this episode 25 on the Patreon, with the full reactions to the mind melting events of this episode are available over on my Patreon. You can find that link to my Patreon page over on the at the bottom of this video if you want to check it out. Free members, paid members, any support really does mean the world. Thank you guys so much for supporting me over there and for joining me on this journey. It's meant the world. And as sad as I am to go into episode 26, I'm also very excited and very worried, quite anxious, and quite whelmed. There's a lot of Aster going into episode 26, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Thank you. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for your support. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. Comment down below if you are over on the Patreon as well. And if there's another show you'd like to see me watch, let me know in the comment section, and drop a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new here and you'd like to become a part of the Ultimate Watch Party. That's all from me, guys. I'm going to go take a nap and try to think about the events of this episode because my mind is melting. And I will see you guys in the next video.